You know, ladies and gentlemen, I was kind of relaxing a little bit today, just eating some lunch and flipping through some old DVDs I have. And one of the DVDs I have contains some videos done by Rasitu Danielle, if you will. And, you know, she kind of talked about something, one of the shows she did a retrospect on, and that was Sonic Underground. Now, there's no doubt that she's right about one thing. It definitely has a mixed reaction. It does have a following, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Sonya is a very popular character. Obviously you can see that. But the thing is, she asked the question that if they were going to do a show very similar in tones, very similar in tone to SatAM, then why couldn't they just do SatAM? Well, she brought up some good reasons. She brought up some probably logical reasons, like maybe they didn't have the rights anymore or whatever. So, you know, the question was, you know, why was this show made? Well, first of all, I think obviously around 1999, 98, 99, the show was made and released because the Dreamcast was coming out. And I think there were plans for the Dreamcast to include a game of Sonic Underground or something like that. I'm not really sure. So that's of course why it was created. But here's what's ironic about this. Here's why I feel that the title says right there, why Sonic Underground has a SatAM connection. It has a SatAM connection because there's a few things that have happened in Sonic Underground that I think were originally supposed to happen in SatAM. Most importantly, the American animation, the American animated debut of Knuckles. That's right. Knuckles, as far as we're concerned here in the West, made his debut in this show. His animated debut in this show. So, you know what? So you're probably asking, well, how does that have a connection to SatAM? Well, according to Ben Hurst, the late Ben Hurst, who also worked on this show, just as he did on SatAM, Knuckles was originally pinned in to appear somewhat during the middle, towards the end of season 3, and then probably be more full on in the 4th season, if there would have been one. So that to me, so obviously to me, Ben Hurst knew in his mind, along with Lynn Jensen and whoever else from the SatAM staff that came on board to work on Underground, they knew they had to pretty much make up for the fact that Knuckles was not going to be in that 3rd season. So that's why you had Knuckles in Sonic Underground. Now there are other connections as well. It's hard to believe. You know, you do have Uncle Chuck again in there, and again, same situation, roboticized, whatever. And another connection is, just like in SatAM, they want to do what they can to free people from that roboticization state. And we see hints of that because they're able to use the amulets that they have. And I think that's I thought that was a great idea. Kind of, you know, take what you did with the power rings in SatAM and raise it up a notch by having the amulets that they wear be a temporary fix. Now, to me, that's a bit of I know it sounds weird, that's a bit of a connection that it has with SatAM. Another connection in SatAM, if you will, is just like SatAM, they're hidden away in a little village or a little hideaway, if you will, in the forest, a place that Robotnik doesn't know of. You know, in SatAM, of course, it's known as Knothole Village. Here it's known as, in underground, it's known as Sanctuary. But still, it's that connection because there's that, it's almost very similar. And the designs are almost similar. To me, I look at this and I say to myself, you know, how could people not see those kind of connections? Now, probably the obvious connection also is both were dropped on a cliffhanger. I mean, of course, season 2 ended on a cliffhanger. Season 3, Underground sort of ended on a cliffhanger. And both were never resolved. I mean, SatAM ended on a cliffhanger for season 3. That was never resolved until these Ben-Hur came out and said what it was going to be. Underground was never resolved after the 40th episode, so we never knew if Robotnik was dead. We didn't know if they reunited with the mother. We didn't know any of that. We didn't know if that was if any of that happened. But thankfully, there's a possibility that after the crossover, Sonic Universe is going to focus maybe a possible 4-issue story arc on an implage, if you will, of what happened after the 40th episode. So, thankfully, that's going to probably be a reality down the line. So, believe it or not, there are many connections in some way between both shows. As crazy as that sounds, there is a lot of connection. Not a lot, but some connection. Now you might say, you know, there can't be much. Now I know some of you might say, these connections you speak of, you know, don't really matter. There's no real connection. There is a connection, folks. There is. Believe me. And if you don't want to believe me, fine, that's your choice. But I feel there is a connection. And speaking of which, well, I'll talk about this later on, but I just truly feel there are connections there, if not influences, and you could see what I mean. And if you don't, think about it for a little bit and tell me what you guys think. Think about the connections that I mentioned. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment and video respond if you like. I'll talk to you later.